So that was so exciting. Like, because I don't know if I had thought I could actually do it. And then you're like, wow. Okay.
So your first Elite World Cup, you finished second?
Yeah, I think so. I haven't checked it, but I think it was.
Welcome to the show, Manon Carpenter. Very excited.
Super stoked. This is another one of those bucket list guests, I'd say. Been on the hit list for a long time. Yeah, we spoke ages ago about coming on.
Yeah.
So yeah, super stoked.
It's been a long time since I've just seen you as well.
Yeah, we don't know, do we? When that was.
Long time ago though, eh?
Everyone looks the same though. When I see people I haven't seen for years, I'm like, the same person. Like,
do you think it's mountain biking
He's
or is
aged.
it? Yeah, you're being nice. I feel like you're just saying the opposite to be nice.
No, genuinely.
I think you turned up and you were like, whoa, Ollie. Whoa, what's he been doing? He's not still crashing, is he?
And I didn't think your hair looked any different.
Yeah, there you go. No. Yeah. Just had a haircut, actually.
Yeah.
Hot topic, yeah.
A compliment in there. How come you spend time down this way, though? Was it riding locally? How had you and Ollie ever met in the past?
Did you ever do any dragons? Or it was just through association of...
So I tell you what, I feel like I did
riders.
dragons, but honestly, my dad I consumed everything there was when I was younger, and my dad used to buy off your dad the VHS tapes, which were raw footage. This is how much I loved mountain biking. I would watch humans that I don't even know go through a section of hill that your dad probably built.
Yeah.
I would watch hours of it.
Really? And it was all raw as well?
I mean, no offence, they were terrible videos.
I think I know the person who used to make them as well, but I mean that was like
Quite a cool idea.
20 odd years ago or more.
Yeah, more.
God.
That would have been more, eh? And you grew up with those races around, just like...
Yeah, that was childhood weekends in the summer.
Unpack it there, it'd be really interesting to know, like, how did your dad, because I don't know much about your dad. It's funny because doing a little bit of research for this, I was looking at some of the old dragon races, just trying to look in and trying to figure out where you were placing and all that sort of stuff. I found loads of like my friends' names in there, and it really like made me think back to a time of where, for me, I kind of discovered mountain biking and my friends were all off racing and stuff like that. But yeah, what's the history of your dad starting that series? And yeah,
it's a good question.
Love for you to wax lyrical on your dad a little bit. Give your dad some,
it's a good
Dr.
question.
Carpenter, some props.
From what I know, I don't think I've ever really explicitly like asked for like the whole full backstory. But so he studied in Swansea Uni and ran a windsurfing school and was like into surfing, windsurfing. Like there's crazy photos that I've seen like since then and be like, oh cool, didn't know you used to do that. And then moved to where I grew up, and I guess so away from the sea, and just started riding. And I think there were some other races maybe in England going on at the time, and he kind of was just like, well, we've got amazing landscapes in Wales, why not do this here? It's probably about as much of mine as I know as a motivation for doing it. But yeah, just knowing like, Wales had super good hills for riding.
It is interesting though, like you go through the rider list and everyone's on there.
Yeah.
I mean, the Dragon Series was where people were going to race downhill. Back then, when we were talking, 07 is when I was looking, I think.
Dude,
around
they were
that sort of
proper
time.
tracks, weren't they, compared to like the other races? I feel like they're really proper tracks.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think. You said 07 because I also had a look to see when I first did a dragon race, and it was 2002.
Was it?
How old would you have been
They started in the 90s.
Okay.
I don't think I know that. I should have looked for the first 8 dragons. I was 9.
9 years old was your first race at your dad's race series. That's so cool, isn't it?
Yeah, that's insane.
It's when I almost took 10 minutes to get down.
I didn't know the hills were that big.
Like twice as long as anyone else, yeah.
So how did your dad go about starting that? Do you know, again, the history?
You have to get him on.
Yeah.
Honestly,
cool.
I'd be interested to hear. I don't know. I was so young. Yeah, it would have been before I was 9, I guess, like 7 odd. Don't know.
So it's just mountain biking was like around
Should've
right
year.
from day one. As far as you can remember back, mountain biking was around.
Yeah.
See, that's pretty cool. It sort of comes as no surprise that you got into it then.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if my dad wasn't it, I don't know how I would have, to be honest, got into it. Yeah, like no one from school and stuff really, I think, would have known how to even like go about it, even though there was like so much good stuff to ride where we grew up. So yeah, and he's like bike obsessed. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say.
But like all bikes, so like skate park,
Right.
pump tracks. Don't even think they kind of were a thing back then, but like as soon as they were, motorbikes had little PW60 that we rode around in the field.
So he's
opposite the
still,
house.
yeah. So he still runs the.
And I runs, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's done, so like brief backstory, but maybe you should get him on. I have no idea. I'd be really interested to hear what he's got to say. But yeah, so Dragons. So he worked at Goldtech, which was like a bike part manufacturing. Then the Dragons, and that became full time. And then BMX tracks. It's like building like BMX tracks around the UK.
Right.
And pump tracks. And then skate park.
So did you feel like you were just getting dragged along on all of these things, or did you really love it at the start?
I can't really remember the start. I have like memories. My first memories are like the real sketchy moments that somehow I they're good memories, like where like, I'm like getting out of control and then my dad like catches me off the bike and stuff. But yeah, I've just been immersed in it. Like it was just the thing that it's always been the thing that I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like you go for rides after school. There's the dirt jumps. And there's like, it's a funny thing because I know in my teenage years there was the bikes thing, and then there was like the school thing, and like friends going to the park after school, and there was like absolutely like my dad's like, oh, I'm going to skate park tonight, and I'm like, oh, I'm at the park. Then you go at night and it would be like a really good time.
Wow.
So yeah, there was always, yeah. I mean, I think it's fairly unusual. Like I spent so many of those years going around the UK to ride places with my dad, like as like teenage girl and stuff.
That's
and
so
I'd be
cool,
the only
though.
girl there. And that's when I probably would have first known you, like doing
Yeah.
trips around the UK to ride, dirt jumps. And I'm there as like this teenage, probably like, I'm sure I might have been 13-ish. My first memories of coming to ride something down this way.
It
Some
might have
dirt
been the last
jumps.
time I saw you. We did an MBUK article, riding dirt jumps.
But I was 13. Oh,
Long
oh,
time
I
ago.
see. It's spotted memory.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
That wasn't the last time we saw each other.
Was it not?
When I was 13.
No, not when you're 13. No. No.
But no, that's when, like, riding, I guess, dirt jumps outside Brendan's house, I think
Yeah.
is my first kind of memory of being down this way riding stuff.
There you go. So you were just along as a passenger with Dad.
Yeah, absolutely. In the
Right.
van, where are we going? Turn up, ride bikes.
That's so cool. I guess it is unusual. I've never really thought about it, but actually, probably a lot of teenage girls get to an age and then they don't spend as much time with their dad.
Yeah. Yeah. It was definitely different kind of like, yeah. It's kind of funny. I'm almost having my teenage years at the moment. But yeah.
Your only child as well?
No, I got a sister. She's 2 years
Okay.
older.
Rides or
She
no?
did ride early teenage years, but then didn't. Yeah, it didn't stick.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. I guess I was kind of always alright with the crashing bit, and I think, yeah.
Okay. Fair.
That's interesting that she didn't continue and you did to such a level. You know, like if you if you hadn't ended up world champion. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's quite funny, isn't it? You would have thought that you'd drag each other along almost.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's different. Yeah, like personality is different as well, right? Like, yeah. I don't know. I guess it stuck with me.
I'd say, yeah.
So when you first started doing the races, the dragon races, there wasn't many other girls doing them at that point either, right? From what I saw.
Yeah,
You-
like 3
Yeah,
out of like
exactly.
200, 300 or something.
Podium.
Every race, mate. Podium.
You got like a
Can of
200
Monster.
a list of 200 people deep when you're like down at the bottom, and maybe someone who crashed and didn't finish. Yeah, like so for me, it wasn't ever like dragons. Never really felt like racing. Yeah, I mean, it was getting down the hill for starters because like they were gnarly tracks. But it was just like the whole experience of being at the race, and we would help. I would do. This was back in the day when filing systems, like you would enter on paper.
Yeah.
You write your entry and send in. I would file that alphabetically. I'm really good at my alphabet because I'm like, yep. Probably from doing that, I think. I do the chips, like the timing chips, snap them together.
Yep.
Really hurts your thumbs.
Okay.
What a funny family business, though. Yeah,
Yeah, it
It's
is.
good pocket money. And But then I ended up doing the timing. Like I was at the top of the hill timing people in my early like teenage years.
Wow.
And I'd like line up the beams and stuff because it was like a laser beam and yeah.
How cool,
Yeah.
just being around races that much. It must have paid off. When did it feel like racing? You said it didn't feel like racing at Dragons. When did it feel like racing?
Probably nationals. Yeah, nationals felt like a step up. It's like, yeah, okay, this is different. Yeah. I think
Did you have instant success at nationals, or did you?
I think I did my first one when I was 15, so you have a youth category, and there was, I guess Monet was like a year above me. This is the thing, you have like there's one girl per age year. So there's two of us in youth, and she's a year older. And then I think in juniors I was like, I was putting down times that were somewhere within the elite range, and it was like, okay, I spent all this time being last at the dragon race because there's 3 women there, and then you're like, okay, actually I can ride a bike, and yeah.
What was it like? How did you start getting speed? Was it time on the bike? Was it access to all these tracks and races? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know, getting older. I mean, I guess part of that is I might not have been as slow as I thought. It's just you just didn't have the field to race against.
Right.
So there's like a couple there who are really good.
Yeah.
And then I'm like in youth, and you have like 2 elite women, like 2 adult women to compete against, and then like, so yeah, I don't know. I think it was a surprise to my dad as well. I think he's got a comment somewhere. Someone was like, "Oh, Manon might be the next good rider." He's like, "Oh, maybe."
That's so cool.
I don't know.
So cool.
It was just, as I say, it was just a thing we did, and it was fun, and I really liked the race scene, like especially like going from the Dragons and then nationals, and it's just exciting. There's like people from all over, and and it's exciting having that progression. I think I definitely did feel a progression. Like,
right.
You're like, oh, I can handle the tracks, and then you can push, and then yeah.
And what was there like a vision early of like,
No.
actually I could be?
No.
You're just doing it.
I was just doing it. It all snowballed. Like I had, I guess again there wasn't. I guess you said you have VHSs, but yeah, I don't know. I guess like dirt magazines were around. Some stuff on the internet, like some YouTube videos.
It wasn't YouTube. It's
What
so
was
mad
there?
to think there wasn't YouTube.
Maybe it was later on then,
The odd DVD,
or like on websites, maybe like odd videos.
Micro time.
At some point.
There was like a timing website.
It's true. Yeah, I remember getting the first computer.
Like back
in the
then
house.
when you were racing, it really was who did you look up to, for instance? Who was kind of?
I knew Tracy and Rachel.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, as like professional.
Yeah.
And I guess like Hannah Gaskell was around.
Yeah. So Tracy was really dominant during that period, wasn't she? Like I guess what Rachel's.
Yeah. She was. Yeah. Well, I guess she would have been going into it. She would have been in elite then.
She would have been, but we just couldn't find out because there was no internet.
Yeah. But I just genuinely didn't think it was something you could do as a career. You know, like
Right.
I was doing it for fun, and then I'd go finish school, and I'd go and give it a go. You know, do it for fun for a bit, and then go and do whatever I would have been doing otherwise.
Interestingly, it probably wasn't. Like even just through doing this podcast, we did one with Paigey, and I don't know if I speak for you as well, but from when I was younger, I was like pretty sure Paigey was like as pro as they come. This guy was like making all the money, had the sickest sponsors, all clean clothes, clean bikes, loads of them. And then you speak to him on the podcast, and it's like it wasn't the case.
No.
You know.
Yeah.
Your sort of perception of it back then was that it was this big thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And
It's very true.
maybe
mate,
it wasn't. Yeah,
It's very true.
Mm.
I think there
Yeah.
was a few.
Yeah.
But then like I guess it's the whole thing with like being a girl at that point. Like there would have been so many guys that you could see at least having that image that like they're pro and doing it, but like just way more limited examples to be like, oh, that's something I could
Right. Yeah.
go and be
true.
and do a bit.
So did you? So Tracy and Rach, they were role models to you. They were like people that you looked up to, or were they people that you were competing against? And at what point, surely at some point, that actually changed, right?
Yeah, they were like the fast women that were at the races. Yeah, I remember bits of interactions, but then it would have been when I was on the World Cup stage.
Okay, how did that happen?
Well, yeah. Okay, but then like my first like proper interaction where I kind of counted Tracy as a friend, it was my first World Cup in Elite, and we shared a room in Leogang.
Oh, cool.
And like that was like the first time I felt like you have like proper like I know who this person is, like yeah. But then so that's skipped on a bit. So World Cups, you had to. This was back when you were qualifying in the Elite as a junior. You get like your little star next to your name, and it was my dad's idea because I knew from hearing from like the other girls who were racing like you have to qualify. Oh, I'm like no way, like that's like how you have to get this barrier. And the first one was in Slovenia in Maribor. And I'm like, oh, but like, what if we go all the way to Maribor and I don't qualify?
At that point, did you have to have national points, obviously, to get even an entry? I don't know. Was it the same in the women's category? Or
you would have had to.
Yeah. Carpenter doing all the admin. She was just turning up.
Yeah, honest. I mean, yeah. But I guess I would have been doing nationals. Yeah. Oh no, and we did international races. We went to. Super lucky. Like we went to Whistler when I was 15, 16.
Right.
And did some races there.
Okay.
And we did go to Portugal, the Vigo Cup.
So you had a bit of an idea that you were quick by this point.
Yeah. Then yeah. But still, I think probably it's just like typical me. Like, oh, but what if I don't qualify? Or like, will I be able to? It's like World Cup. You go from national to World Cup with a couple of international races. Like it's like this big like
it's a big step up.
Yeah,
it's a thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And no, my biggest thing was, am I going to get in the way of people? Because you're going to be a junior with like top elite riders like hurtling down behind you. And there'd been a video at some point with a clip of someone moaning about catching people.
Do you know how much people will love hearing this come from your mouth? Like you've been a world champion, you've won World Cup overall title, and you still have all of those thoughts.
Yeah.
I never thought anyone would think like me when I was younger, if you know what I mean. I never thought that those doubts go through your mind or...
Yeah, definitely at the start. And then I think once I was in it, and then it was like, okay, I am like competitive and like I had a good result, and it was like, oh, okay. And then it's like exciting because you're like, oh, like how's the next one going to go? And I think I was really lucky. Like, as I say, it kind of snowballed. Like then once you were in it, I think it just snowballed into like the whole next few years. As I say, I was kind of expecting like, oh, I'll go race, see what I can do. And then I guess I'll probably go and do this other thing because I will have to go and get a job and get paid at some point. But then, was in the circuit and stayed there.
So one thing had
there
to
was no
pause,
leaving.
kind of. One thing had to pause, and it was like either the riding a bike or pursuing other things.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I got on at school, all right? So it was like... school, university, something.
Yeah.
So I had an application to go, like in my first year, I was like, okay, I'll leave it a year, do the gap year, whatever, go race, see how it goes. And then like there was no way I was going to uni at the end of that year. Like, so yeah, I think it got like postponed a couple of times and then I cancelled it. Like, no.
This is happening.
Yeah.
When did you pick up like a first sponsor which saw value in That sounds so kooky, not value, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we had support like from when I was 15, I think, like getting a bike to ride, really cool, and like kit. Yeah. My first supported World Cup year was my second year junior. So it was pretty cool because the first year, like my dad backed
full
it.
privateer.
Yeah. And then the second year, he got paid to come with me and be like managing a few of us riding.
Yeah.
So that was nice. So yeah, that was 2 years junior, and then so that was Madison Saracen, second year junior, with my dad running it. And I think they were like, okay, going into elite, we need to make it professional. And then it was full professional team from elite.
Right. Am I right in thinking that first Madison, your first year on Madison, was their first year actually
Having the team.
Having a team. Okay.
Yeah.
So everyone was learning.
Well, yeah. The first year was that year with my dad. Yeah. So it was like kind of a team. Like he was like, I don't know, guardian, whatever, of me and a couple of the other guys that were with Madison Saracen at that time. Yeah, and then full team.
Do you remember how that like came about? Was it you going to them, or did they come to you?
They came to us actually.
Okay.
Might have been the second World Cup before William. I did first year junior. It was. Again, like, really lucky, really that like. I think we got approached to Fort William. They were thinking of doing a team, and they were interested to talk to us about me being on it. Mm-hmm. I think, and then at the end of that year, end of that season, went down to see them at the headquarters and chat, like, what's the plan?
Yeah.
What motivated you at that point? Were you like, I can win a World Cup? Or were you like, I want to travel the world or make money? Or what was it that was like making you?
It was fun. Yeah. It
Just
was
fun.
Good thing to do. Like, like kind of hooked, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So it was really just riding driven at that stage. Yeah.
I honestly don't know if I ever knew I could. Yeah. That I would get as far. There's an interview from me as a junior, and it's like, I'm gonna do World Cups, see how I manage, and if I have a big injury, then I guess I'll stop. But it's like basically like I just want to, let's just see how it goes. Kind of like, yeah.
That's a good attitude to come in with it.
Do
you think that's like a healthy attitude rather than
I think
maybe an overconfidence or something?
I think it's easier than having like a huge expectation, because then expectation did come.
Yeah.
And there were points when as a junior. My second year junior world champs, I felt expectation because I was injured the year before, and that was like, no, everyone knows I'm going to win it, or thinks I'm going to win it.
Yeah.
What if? So there was like times of expectation, but it was just like exciting and fun and a really cool thing to do. There is the travel, and it's like a fun. It's such a different world.
Yeah.
It's such a like a unique world to be in.
Cool way of seeing the world as well,
ways.
Isn't it? You're like there for something else. I would imagine anyway. I've never done a
You
World
go
Cup
to
season.
places you never would have gone to otherwise. Like, even with like bike trips where you go somewhere to ride or train for a week in like a location, you're seeing a part of the world that you never would have gone to.
Yeah,
if
like
it
in
wasn't
between
bikes.
towns.
Yeah,
towns you'd never go on a touristic holiday.
Yeah. Like absolutely not like any kind of resort or like tourist spot. It's just.
It's funny because the names of those locations roll off the tongue like Maribor, but like the reality is, Maribor wouldn't be a place that I would have ever visited unless the race series went through there. I probably wouldn't have heard of it. I've not heard of Maribor outside of mountain bike racing.
Yeah, I mean, even like at a local level, like all the venues we've been to, would possibly never have ever gone there, or maybe like to be a tourist in Llangollen or something. But like. Because there's a really cool hill with really cool tracks. You go and experience this place that a lot of people wouldn't otherwise.
Yeah. It's very true. That is very true. So sorry to unpack again, but like, no, it's fine. No, it's what it is. Yeah. What first year junior then?
Yes.
What was that like? Where did you end up finishing? And what was the experience really like with your dad traveling the world and stuff? I know you've kind of touched on it a little bit, but.
I didn't go this deep into looking at all the things that happened. I think there was 1 to 3 junior girls competing, I think.
Okay.
I think I might have won them all. I won the series first year.
Right.
And then, because I didn't win the last one because I had a massive wreck in Wyndham and broke my humerus and cartwheeled and... I think came to in the ambulance or the hospital. I don't know.
Really?
So the whole year, this was why the expectation built up, because it was like everyone's like guesses were like.
So then you missed world champs at the end.
Yeah, I missed world champs, and I missed that last race, obviously. Broken arm. I was in the hospital, like moving my shoulder, like doesn't feel. They thought it was dislocated. It doesn't feel dislocated. Maybe I'll be alright. Like the other half wasn't really attached.
Shoulder's fine.
But yeah, all the rest of the races. I can't say I remember. I can. Yeah, it was in the van. Yeah, sleeping in the van, going with my dad. I think my mum came out to a couple as well. We like camped at Val de Sol, and my sister would have been there as well. Yeah, just
so sick.
Yeah,
we did a little segment last week when we were talking about like most memorable memories. I think it was from being on a bike, and I was sort of saying that one of mine are going traveling with my dad and going to races and stuff like that. It was different. It was motocross stuff, but those memories are so cool when you think back. And I know it feels like another lifetime ago. When you really like think about it, like, oh my, that's like money can't buy those experiences, and it no doubt changes when you then go to elite or you're on a team or something like that.
Yeah,
but there's like initial ones where you're just in it for the love and just enjoying each other's company and traveling around. It's so fun.
Yeah, I think it's really cool, and we always did like fun stuff around it as well. You know, it was traveling around Europe, going to races, and then doing like, you know, the whole thing was like a fun trip. But yeah, that like a real vivid memory. I wonder if Leogang would have been like the third World Cup. We arrived in the dark, slept I think probably on the back seats of the van, and then woke up, and you know the mountain view you see in all the photos, like we were in a car park at the bottom of that, and you just wake up and there's like this ginormous like mountain face. You're like, hope the track isn't down that hill. But yeah, that was like a real vivid memory. Like, wow, it's a cool place.
That's cool. Was that first injury? Was that like the first dip of the toe into being injured?
Yeah. But I think because I was 17, 18, it honestly didn't affect me.
Really?
Well, I guess there's a couple months after. I don't remember it affecting me significantly. Obviously, when you get back on a bike, it's like building back up. But it wasn't one that like lingered.
Right. Okay.
I suppose maybe like later ones might have done.
Yeah.
So you had success as a junior. Pardon me. You managed to make your way onto a podium as a junior?
I guess I might have stood there on my... Oh, I see. With the elite.
Because obviously it was combined then, wasn't it? There wasn't a junior category, but like I think your times were competitive, right? Was there like a turning point where you just realised that you actually were in the running to potentially win a World Cup ever, or did you just...
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, Champri, I think Champri World Champs, my time was top 3 or 5, but you raced at a different time, to be fair, in that one. But yeah, I knew I was getting close. I knew I was getting close to the elite times, and I think I knew going from junior into elite with like actually training and getting stronger, like it would make a difference. And my first elite race, actually, I think I came second by like a tiny margin to Tracy Hannah. So that was so exciting. Like, because I don't know if I had thought I could actually do it. And then you're like, wow. Okay.
So your first elite World Cup, you finished second? Yeah,
I think so. I haven't checked any of this, but I think it was. And it was Tracy Hannah's comeback race as well, I think. So it was kind of just like a cool race.
That's so cool. I remember my first elite World Cup race, but that's kind of just goes to show how much cool shit you've done.
Yeah, and that was South Africa as well. You know, like super cool place to be as well. Yeah. And it didn't carry on like that. That was like the highlight kind of the year.
Okay.
And I think I did break my collarbone later on in the year, but then came back and did good at World Champs, got a medal. So the fire was like fully lit.
It was lit.
Like from there on, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely like, yeah.
At what point did it become a job?
I'll probably find out after the break as well.
Good idea.
All right, let's have a quick break, shall we?
Companionship. Are you looking to take ownership of your health? Introducing AG1, a powerful daily nutrition supplement designed by scientists to support your body's needs. AG1 is a comprehensive and convenient blend of over 70 high-quality ingredients packed with vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced nutrients.
With just one scoop each morning mixed with water, AG1 helps to support your brain, heart, energy, and immune system. It's a powerfully simple way to start your day right. While we have a degree of individuality, science tells us that the human body is interconnected, which is why AG1 contains over 70 ingredients to support your baseline nutrition. Drink AG1 is the best way to feel reassured that you're supporting your body with a broad range of nutrients it needs. AG1 isn't just another supplement, it's a morning ritual, a timely habit that fits seamlessly into your routine. And it does fit into my routine.
Dude, it does, yeah.
Because I just do it in the morning before anything. Apparently, you're meant to have it on empty stomach, which I actually quite like. I take it with me in my little AG1 shaker and just go walk the dog.
I do it empty stomach every time, actually.
Yeah.
Because it said on the instructions, and I did what was on the instructions.
Like,
you know what I mean?
That's the sort of people we are.
Davey, what are the benefits?
Well, Ollie, they speak for themselves. From sustained energy throughout the day to immune support and stress management, AG1 has you covered. Plus, AG1 is NSF certified for sport, ensuring the highest quality ingredients and manufacturing standards. Ready to take the next step in your wellness journey? Visit drinkag1.com/ridecompanion today for a special offer. We are going to give you free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your next purchase.
So that's drinkag1.com/the ride companion.
That's right, mate. Yeah.
Nice.
drinkag1.com/ride companion.
Take ownership of your health with AG1. Check it out now.
Check it out now.
That was a brilliant ad.
I have to PayPal you for that one. Brilliant. Thank you. Thanks, Manon. So before we went to the adverts, the question was, I think it was, when did biking become an actual job? When did you consider it your job? When did you go pro?
Nice.
Yeah.
Going pro is a big thing.
I guess I did it. It was the only thing I was doing first year elite, but not on like, I guess, what I would say like a full-time job contract.
Yeah.
You know, like the financial wise.
Yeah.
But I guess
But
yeah.
for you, it was how you made money at that point.
Yeah. I didn't do another job after school.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's quite cool.
Yeah, I was like full-time focusing on racing. Yeah,
What did full-time focusing on racing look like average week back then?
I had a trainer then. That was my first year with a trainer, so with Millway.
Oh, wow.
And I guess bulked up over the winter. I think I put on, quite a bit of weight with muscle. Gym, rides, downhill.
Do you feel it made a difference when you started taking it seriously in that regard?
Like being stronger and fitter, absolutely, yeah. Huge difference. Like for confidence, the strength side of it, like just having confidence on the trail. I think that was also exciting, like realising how confident you feel on the bike once you actually have some strength behind you, yeah.
And you feel like you're really starting to go quick then, I
yeah.
guess.
Yeah, you like level up instantly, kind of like, you can just hold on to so much more.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. What years are these first year? Your first years in elite. What year is that?
2012.
2012. So you did 2012, 2013. When did you break onto the podium?
2012.
2012.
The first one. I did say this.
You did say this. Sorry. I thought that was okay. That was your first elite. It wasn't the junior. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so 2012, first year elite. I got second at the first one. I might have got on the podium at a later one, maybe. And then I got third at World Champs. And I finished somewhere decent in the overall. This is stuff I did look, I didn't go into this.
You don't have to know all of this. To be honest, we're leading towards 2014, aren't we?
Yeah.
What happened in 2014?
Yeah. Okay, well, so I guess for like the build up, 2012 I got third at World Champs. That was exciting. And that's when I stayed with Tracy, and it was just like, I felt good there.
Of course, like you've looked up
confident.
to Tracy as well. It's like, you're on the podium.
Yeah. It was just nice. Yeah, nice. I don't know. Yeah, it was cool. Cool thing to do.
Can I ask you a quick question? What was the vibe like within like the female side of the sport? Are you all friends? Is there some extra level of competitiveness? And you know what I mean?
I think at this point I'm just like the youngster who's just come on the scene, and there's always like really established women that like stand on the podium, and like I'm just like the new young one that's come along. And they all really nice.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, so like I don't think I felt like in the crowd yet because I've just come on. But yeah, a whole bunch of names popping in my head who would have been there.
Yeah.
And then like 2013, I did have an injury that year, and then 2013 was another good year. I finished well in the oval, but then I was really excited for World Champs because it was back in South Africa where I'd been good the year before, and I knew that was a good track for me, like flowy jumps, like some rock gardens at the top. I was super fired up. I did actually think I had a chance at that one, at like winning, because I knew it was a track that I was good at. And then I crashed like 20 seconds into the race. I was fuming. I was like, that was my track to do it on. Yeah. And that also, and that was like the last race of the year. And then you go into the off season also with like kind of a fire burning.
Yeah.
For 2014.
You're seasoned now as well, because you've done this circuit a fair few years at this point. So do you feel like you knew, it just felt like normal life now?
Yeah.
So 2014, what changed? 2014, like from the outside, 2014, you were really dominant, and it was like, it wasn't not expected, but it was like clearly something came together and all of a sudden worked. What was it for you? Or did it not feel like that for you? Did it just feel like a progression?
No, I think there was like a constant build over the years. So like I had definitely had good results in 2013 and was like showing promise, and I was excited, World Champs, etc. I did move, I think that was the first year I moved out. I might have moved out 2013, and then I'm like, next level in life. And to be honest, I just remember like whole of 2014, it's hard to untie, right? Are you excited because you're like doing well in the thing that, in your thing, or were you doing well in racing because you were like loving life,
flourishing in life? Yeah.
But like that whole year was just really cool, and like started with won the first World Cup. So yeah, I guess set me on a roll. I think I was like feeling good coming in for sure.
You feel like that
probably
injury
had good
before
training
like
camps.
gave you loads of momentum, not momentum, but like drive through the off season to just come back swinging.
Yeah, and I'm sure we must have had some team camps, and I was probably feeling good on those as well. You'd like, the guys would do laps and you'd be way off, but then actually maybe I felt like I was not actually that far off, in terms of like what you would expect to be going fast.
Yeah, that's quite difficult actually. I hadn't thought about that with team camps. If you don't have multiple females on the team,
You're always the slowest.
Yeah, that does have impact, though, doesn't it? It's like,
and you go on a road ride and you're like, oh, for God's sake. Yeah. But then you could kind of gauge, like Milway would always say like 9% ish is like a good distance.
Okay.
I think like a certain percentage is like, you're like in a good range. And then even that summer, like went out to Meg Avalanche, like took myself out in the van for the summer, just like, again, this whole like just doing fun stuff around racing as well. I actually came to the John Pound on my way out and stacked it. I was going out to France for like
a huge crash. I remember that. But then you did it afterwards. You're all good.
Yeah. But I was a bit like, I'm like on my way out to France for like weeks, and I've just crashed in the dirt jumps. So, yeah.
the biggest, steepest dirt jumps though. Don't feel bad. I've crashed on that loads of times.
Yeah. So yeah, it was an exciting year, like all around, I think.
Yeah.
Good point in life.
Who's the crew that you're hanging around with that's making it fun?
I guess I'm trying to remember the points in the year. I always used to do in the off season in October, quite often go and do dirt jump like tours.
Okay.
Like Bristol. I wonder. I honestly couldn't tell you which year was what, but I remember like with Casey and Joey going around and doing some dirt jumps. Back at home, I guess the local South Wales crew, probably like people used to come over, like other World Cup downhill races would come over and ride. Like South Wales is where you come and do shuttle runs. Yeah. So whoever was around and racing, I think there's a general feeling in South Wales there was like boom years as well, when like loads of people were racing and you'd like just go and do shuttles together. Yeah, there was like it's a funny thing, there's like a real peak in downhill, and I think it was before like enduro bikes fully took off.
Yeah.
And then now everyone's riding trail bikes and enduro
Yeah.
more than doing like what you used to do, like downhill shuttles and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like there was
Yeah.
a buzz around that time as well. It was quite exciting. I don't know why I feel that way. It might have been just because I knew lots of people racing. It probably was that. But like,
I think probably like the whole trail bike thing has changed it, I think. Because it was only downhill races. There was no enduro races to go to. And then on the weekend, you either, I guess what you called a cross-country ride, or you go and do downhill shuttles.
yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a different like scene.
Yeah, because I don't see juniors riding dirt jumps anymore. And you think how important it was to probably a lot of the races from your age category. I feel like everyone rode dirt jumps in the off season and stuff. It was like an important part of training. Not training, but you know, like
Yeah.
riding.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been a fan of like, well, because of my dad,
Yeah.
but like ride everything if you can. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's all like skills to add into your bag, isn't it?
Yeah.
And good variety for fun.
Yeah.
So 2014, things just kept going well. It must be quite a good feeling.
Yeah.
Sponsors flying in, results coming in, travelling the world, making money.
Yeah. There's a funny thing of the World Cup overall is a bit of a, I think the last race of the year was a little bit tense because you're like, I've probably got this, but I think I had to come third to like
really?
snag it.
Okay.
And I had a big crash in practice. And I was like, don't do that in your race run.
Where was it? Where was the last one?
Maribel.
Okay.
And actually, and the whole team had, 2014 was the year. Like the whole team was buzzing actually. Like Matt Simmons had his best result. He got on the podium at Maribel.
Right.
And I think that might have been his best overall year as well. It was just, there was like some magic around that year. I think that it was just, yeah.
Who else was on
Cool-
that team
cool
in 2014?
Sam Dale, Matt Simmons,
Yeah.
and Shimizu, Japanese rider,
Okay.
came for a couple of
Banger
years.
team.
Yeah.
Sambo. So good.
Yeah. Isn't it?
I
I think
forgot.
I see it as like the glory years as well to me, and I don't know
Yeah,
why.
it's
I
funny,
think as
no.
well for me, it's more of what age I was then, if that makes sense. And
Mm.
like I was just more active and riding more, and just more connected to the whole thing.
Yeah.
I just feel like for me that's like glory years.
Yeah, there was probably less. There was probably what it was there was a good amount of internet. They turned the tap was turned on.
You might be right.
But it wasn't too much.
Yeah,
it wasn't
you might
too
be
much
right,
that
bro.
you can't consume it, or you could consume every story. You knew where everyone was finishing. You knew qualifying results. You knew finals. You knew who was like riding well.
You might be right, mate.
It's a lot now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It is a lot now. Yeah.
And I think, and the bikes were changing around then as well. Like that I think that was just because I remember like there being, that might have been around when 650B was coming in.
Yeah.
And I think the tracks were also changing as well. And I think like around then is probably when it's like the evolution to what downhill is now. It's probably like happening around.
Yeah.
then
Can you
as well.
summarise what you think that evolution looks like? Because you've probably got a really interesting view of it because you're so deep amongst it at that point, and then now you're outside of it but looking in.
I mean, I can't really speak for like now because I guess I'm not like fully in it to know like what it's actually, you know, for the people racing now. But my first year doing Leergang 2010, the track was like a ginormous rut, like such big ruts. Like it was like
Like a
a
dragon.
technical challenge to get down the top. And then it was through the woods steep. I think you rode through like a big wet grassy field for a while instead of that motorway section. And then the bottom, there's a really funny video of someone on that waterfall section. I can't remember who it is. But there was like steps that you would drop down. And I remember that was like super technical. As in like the whole thing was really technical and kind of just hard to ride.
Yeah.
And then the last time I rode Leergang, it's like fast, flat out. That motorway section, and like the speeds are so much higher. Maybe the feature's bigger, but I think just overall the speed, like wider tracks, wider. Like
park
yeah,
track.
Bike park, yeah, I was gonna
yeah,
say, bike
it's more
parking.
bike park style. Yeah,
Mm.
and that's what is definitely the years I was racing. I think definitely changed, and like I think in Andorra as well. The first year when it was like super fresh, it was all in the trees, no fast open sections. I don't think, and like where the first big open section came in, it used to be like off camber-ish through the trees, and you had to like stay on like the little line that you were on. And I love, like, that's more like what I've ridden in South Wales. And down the bottom, you're like getting like dust in your shoes. Like, and I have that like vivid, just like be like, I've got dust like packed in my shoes. And yeah, and now it's more bike paths. And maybe it has to be. I know you had Rowan come on, like if you want like more, you know, more trails that last and isn't like the whole trail isn't destroyed after a race. But yeah, that's like, I think a big part of like the evolution.
Yeah.
And it probably didn't look as good on camera for non-mountain bikers.
Yeah,
You know.
agreed. It is TV friendly now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Was it all Red Bull then?
Freecaster.
And then Red Bull will have been 2014. Would it not? No, maybe not. Might not have been in 2014.
Not entirely sure.
No, I'm not sure either. I just wondered if that played a bit of a part into it back then. Maybe. Making it more TV friendly.
Don't know if it's a racer. I don't know if you... Oh, I see, with the tracks. Yeah.
I mean, you're exactly right, because I remember them saying Leogang, the motorway section was for TV, because they could get a line in before drones or whatever. I could be completely wrong on that, but I remember someone saying it.
Yeah.
And probably also like where it had been, I'm pretty sure just like a bit of it was like riding through a field.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Probably way better.
Was a bit crap.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I was like definitely wasn't there at the very start downhill, but like in like the more of the old school side, I think at the start, and then
the transition period. Yeah.
Interesting.
And in that transition period, you got a rainbow jersey.
Yes. And it was a really fun year, and it was
Which is crazy
Very
to think it is almost 10 years to the day.
Yes. Yeah. If this goes out next week, it will be the week that I won World Champs a decade ago.
Wow.
Which is wild. A whole decade.
Yeah, how does it feel? How does that actually feel?
Doesn't feel like it's been a decade.
Does it feel like you? Do you feel like that same person?
Yeah, so on my way here today, I was like scrolling through, because on your phone now, it still has my library from 2014.
Yeah.
And just like reliving the years, I did so much. Like, that year was packed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's probably coming to a bit after, like, I absolutely massively burnt out after World Champs. Just, I think the whole year being excited, and probably everything before as well, and like training super hard, like putting everything in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you can't sustain that indefinitely.
Do you remember what it felt like to become a world champion?
Yeah, it didn't. I spoke to Kelly, who at Madison on the phone, I think, like not long after I got off the podium. I was like, I don't know what. Like, she was so excited, and I was like, I don't think I've processed this.
Really?
Unreal, I guess. Yeah, it did feel unreal. And then the whole week after, I barely slept, because I was waking up like super early in the morning, like, I won World Champs, like,
God.
like wired, I guess. Yeah.
No doubt. And also, what was cool is you had 3 British women on the podium.
Yeah, that was cool.
And 2 British men, because G won and Josh finished second.
Yeah.
So the whole of the UK downhill mountain biking, cycling community, is riding that high with you, which is really sick.
It's probably why you were saying it's like the golden era in your mind.
I think so, yeah.
Because British golden era.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, now it's French.
Could be.
Well,
Oui.
and Austrian.
Yeah.
Could be, for sure. Wow, a world champion. That's, I don't know. It's hard to, I don't think we've had a world champion on here yet.
And then like next week, there'll be a new world champion. Cool.
Yeah, but it's just so sick that you've done it, and you're on that. I've seen all the social media they've been putting out, and I think you shared something with the different people that have won it, and I don't know. It's. I mean, I don't know you that well, but the person that is sat here today, it's hard to imagine you, with the greatest respect, like having all that drive and that like living that life, because I feel like the person you are now seems really different. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's what I meant when I asked you, like, does it feel like you?
Yeah.
That was living that life and doing all that stuff.
Yeah. I don't know if I do feel that different. It's just like what I'm doing is different. And I'm like in quite a different like world. I say it's like such a unique world, like the World Cup circuit.
Yeah.
But this was something that I absolutely took away from my time on World Cups. Like all the people you see on the screen racing, like they're all people. you know, like everyone is just a person, and there is that, you know, to you they're like a world champion and like pro racer, and obviously they're like, you know, very skilled and like special people for what they do, but they are also just like everyone's just people as well.
Yeah. I think that's what's cool about the podcast and just, I guess, like you were saying about having social media and stuff now, is you learn more about these people.
Yeah.
Even in 2014, like to most people, you'll still have been this anomaly person, it probably felt like. To a lot of people, you don't get to know you like you do now with people. Like, you know so much more about these people now that are going on the podium.
Yeah.
Like, you can watch them all day if you want to.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
see everything about their life.
Yeah.
Which is gnarly to think, but yeah.
Or see what they show you.
Very true.
But yeah.
Very true.
But then I guess what did feel different, actually, you ask, I think I felt a bit of a weight of being like a world champion.
Yes.
Because of this thing, you're like, oh, now I need to be like, come across as a world champion.
Did it change a lot, like media obligations?
It was busy off season.
Right.
Well, yeah, it was, and then into the next season as well. I think partly because I'd had definitely burnt out.
Really?
How do you
before.
mean you burnt out then? How did that come about that you felt that way?
As I said, like, I think it had been like a really big year, like in a good way, but again, like it does take energy. And then I don't think I didn't really stop after, you know, like celebrating, excited. There was a national the week after the World Champs, and I'd not slept and gone away for a few days, ridden my motorbike, and possibly done an interview in that week in between with like, and I did have social media then. So like, it was like blowing up with people messaging. And then, yeah, I guess media stuff, I didn't think I ever really had an off season, and then straight back into, you know, you want to do it again next year. But like, you've just given absolutely everything. How realistic is it that you can cope with doing that the first time and then like improve again? And yeah.
Need space around it, and you didn't have any.
Definitely didn't give, I didn't even know to give myself any, really, I don't think. Yeah.
You see it now in the pointy end of the field. You see people they're just gone in the off season, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think it's probably a necessity, isn't it, if you're going to be competing year in, year out?
Yeah. 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 If it's like if you're doing it for like 15, 20 years. Yeah. So you need to find that like balance, like, yeah, like how you, yeah.
So 15 started different, did it? It felt different.
Mm-hmm.
Did it start on the same team?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there were some changes. There were some changes to the team. I'd had this big burnout and didn't really know what to do about it, or didn't didn't really understand, I guess, what was going on. And I did actually. It was the first time my injury came back to haunt me, like my plate in my arm.
Right.
In the gym, doing like some weights, something tweaked. I couldn't control my arm. If you took a side plank and like lift your arm up, I couldn't control it on the way down. It just fell.
Okay.
And it wasn't, and that, like, the control came back, but it hurt every time I, like, did a big bench press or landed, like, a big jump. I'd get, like, this shooting pain. Katie Kidd had the same with her. It was the first time you realise that some injuries come back to bite you, especially if there's metal work in there. Yeah. And that continued until I had it out. So I also had this thing, that I'd had a weird thing happen with my, like, funny nervy metal plate, broken arm thing.
I feel like I remember that, yeah.
I probably did talk about it. I don't know if I did talk about it much. I kind of thought, get on with it. But it hurt every time I landed a big jump, which isn't great for like confidence, I guess. Like,
yeah. That's just a little niggle in your head.
Yeah.
Every time you ride the bike.
Yeah.
And
so
it was nerve related?
I had a bunch of like bone scans and different scans, and you can see like when you have a plate and you have pins through, like it's not flush, like they stick out the back or whatever. And I guess all I know is that when I had it taken out, the pain went. Wow. But that was like 3
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, 2 years later. Yeah, 2 years later, and then I haven't had it since. So it was some, you have metalwork and pins and like all the stuff you've got going on in your body.
Elastic bands.
Yeah.
That's how
Something didn't like it. Yeah. And yeah, so burnout, this funny arm thing, I didn't really know what was going on. And expectation. Yeah. And not feeling ready, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
At what point did the expectation, you know, take? Did it feel like it took hold at the races, or was it just the whole build up? I'm sure when you're on track, it's the same thing, isn't it, or not?
Yeah, I think the first race had been Lords, and that it's quite. And I think it was wet, and it's quite an hardy track. It's like limestone, like this grey, shiny limestone that's so slippery at the top. And yeah, I think I was just like, oh god, I don't think I'm ready for this. But like got through it, and like, you know, again, I was on. I had like seconds and thirds that year, but it was such a bizarre thing. Like I am sitting down at some point after a podium or finishing a race being like, I've just got second or third. Doesn't feel like I've got second and third. You know, it's not like, it's not winning now, so it's not.
Is that what it was? Yeah, it was
the bar was higher.
Yeah, it was like 2 years before, 2013, would have loved it, you know, stoked on that. Or it would have been a good race. But like somehow, like the expectation had just gone up. I think not just from me.
Sponsors.
People expect it.
Everyone,
Everyone's like, oh, you're going to win. Oh, I don't know. I'll try.
Yeah, give it my best.
Yeah. So yeah, and I think there was a lot of like, obviously years after you like reflect a bit, I guess. And I think, I don't think I had a lot of like, I didn't understand a lot of that like mental game. Yeah. I did speak to a sports psychologist, but a lot of it was like preparing for the race rather than like dealing with the fact that I talked about this book with Chopper did a documentary. I think now there's more awareness of the person as well. Like you perform, there's a race performance and a sport performance, but like the person also has to be like in the right space.
Yeah.
And feeling good and, you know, all of that around it to actually be able to turn it on when you need to.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You feel... Go on.
No, please.
No, please. After you.
I can't remember now.
Age before beauty. You know that.
Did that drag out through 2015 then?
Yeah.
So it didn't diminish as you didn't get momentum and feel...
No, it was worse at the start and it improved. Yeah, it got better. Yeah, and then it was like, okay, yeah, it got better for sure. And again, like I finished like... I don't know myself. I think I finished like second or third in the overall. I think.
You're still getting results, yeah.
Yeah. But again, it was just a weird thing. Like if people had been like, what are you on about? That's really good. But somehow I didn't, or I just didn't absorb it. I don't know. But yeah. And then I was like, I need fun. Because like the year before I'd been having fun. So I went out to New Zealand in the off season, which was really cool.
Yeah. That's 2015 to 2016 off season? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was really cool.
What, to just try and make it fun again?
Yeah, I think, again, still probably like the balance of training and fun. It was like trying to do both. It's a funny thing when you train like full time, like it definitely zaps you. And you want to put everything in, but I think there's also, when you do something like a skill based thing like mountain biking, you definitely need like the time to chill.
Yeah.
But yeah, like took the dirt jump bike for Gorge Road and did like really nice, there's really nice like downhill and trail riding. Yeah, like Queenstown's a cool place. And we flew to Auckland and then went down via like Rotorua, White Sands Bay, somewhere near Nelson as well. Like so like...
And with trail bikes starting to become a thing as well then?
Yeah.
You said before that wasn't really the era around 2014. I guess 2015, 2016 it's starting to become a bit more of a...
Yeah, I mean, I think there were trail bikes. It's just people, you'd say you go for cross-country ride.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like
I still do that.
Yeah. From like 15, I was doing cross-country rides.
Yeah.
Which is basically now enduro. But yeah, I don't know. It was more like, I don't know. Yeah.
I remember going for a ride with you. We just pedalled up Bike Park Wales. Pedalling up, just lapping Bike Park Wales like on the road.
We paddled up.
It's such a bizarre thought now. Like
before they had the uplift.
Yeah, and before e-bikes. So.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it was before the uplift, maybe.
I love how like we paddled
Might
up.
have been smaller.
Bike
It
Park
Like
Wales.
that, it was literally, no, they still had the uplift. But we were just pedalling up the...
Yeah, okay. And like lapping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 laps.
Whoa. And pedalling up.
Yeah.
Big day out.
Yeah.
Hard to imagine now. It is for me.
Not on the eve, mate. You'll be flying around up there. So, when was your last year elite?
2017.
2017 was last year. So, after 2014 and 2017 being your last year, what happened in between there that changed?
It's a great question.
Well, like ultimately it was like, yeah, I became more aware of injuries. Well, I became more aware of injuries. And this whole thing of like risk and reward, I used to go to the sports psychologist and they'd be like, well, you know, what's the worst, like asking me, what is the worst that you think can happen? Oh, broken bone, broken arm or something. But then like, I don't know if we did that again or if I was just thinking about that and I was like, sounds a bit more serious these days. And like, are you willing, is the reward of what you're doing worth the risk of it going wrong? And I think when I was younger, I was always like, oh, it won't happen to me. It's not going to happen to me. And then I've said some people like, you feel like you use up your lives. You have a few big crashes that you get away with. And then I think it was like, might happen to you. And maybe because I didn't feel like I was, I don't know.
Did you feel you were like crashing more because you had this worry?
I don't think so. I've never been someone who crashes loads anyway. And but I did have big crashes before and I had some big crashes after as well. So yeah, but like, honestly, I think like I always did it for fun. As I say, it was always fun. It was never like, I want to be the best mountain biker in the world and I want to dominate at the top level. It was like, it was fun, like cool thing to do, like what an opportunity, and loving everything that came with it. But I don't think I ever envisaged that it would be my career forever. Partly because of being a woman. At some point you have to do something else. At least for a bit. Although now Rachel's like absolutely, coming back and winning a World Cup after having a kid.
Yeah,
like
that was
amazing.
cool, wasn't it? That was cool.
And like cross-country rider to see that now as well. But I think there was a bit of that, like I kind of feeling, it was like, what am I going to do? It was like, what comes after?
Yeah.
And I didn't know what came after. And at that point, I didn't know what those options could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
So
think
it was
like,
actually a happy and healthy retirement. It wasn't one that was like, when you stopped racing, was there any form of negativity around it, or was it like?
It was a really hard decision to make.
I bet.
Because like, what a cool thing to do. And you're turning it down and you're like, actually no. And like like at that point after winning World Champs, like, real good contract for like someone in your early 20s at least. Or mid 20s, I guess at that point.
Yeah, I mean, you're still at the pointy end. You're still one of the fastest riders in the world.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you retired mid-season as well?
Yeah. It did get to a point I was like, if I was still having a conversation with someone, like, if your head's not in it, don't make yourself do it. Because if you do then have a big crash, you're gonna regret it. And I did go out to a World Cup, but I was like, no, it's not going to work. Like, head's not there.
Wow.
So yeah, like it wasn't like I still wanted to be competing and I couldn't anymore, which is probably the worst scenario. But it was sad being like, I don't think this is it anymore. And then it's like, what? Well, yeah, it was sad that it wasn't that anymore. But I had started uni. So I'd gone back to university. So I had something to go into. So it wasn't like this big black hole of like nothing. To do, which I think is a really hard place to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, then we went on to like, next stage of life.
Who were you talking to about this decision? Because it's not a easy decision to make. Mid-season, team, contracts, blah, 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 blah.
I was really
Who did you like confide in?
So I think there was like, so it was a national champs that year, was when I had like, it dawned on me, like, I don't want to go as fast as I need to go to be competitive. So then I can't really race anymore. And it was a really emotional bit when a young girl who'd like been a fan, she's really sweet, like her and her dad, they came up and they gave me a mug that said something like, you never give up on your dreams or something. And I was like, oh God, I'm going to cry.
Wow.
Like, that was quite hard. And then in the week after, I spoke to the team because there was a World Cup coming up and the World Champs were in Australia.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't fly to Australia if, like, and British Cycling pay for you, or whoever's paying for you to go out there. Like, you can't go all the way to Australia knowing that, like, you might not be, your head's not in it. So yeah, my family, I guess, for a week. Poor them. And my partner was really good. Like, he's really level-headed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, it feels like a big decision now. In a few years' time, it won't. Which I don't know if I took that in at the time, but
No, it's hard to though, isn't it? Especially and to be in that world, you have to wrap yourself up in it so much that I think it probably is hard to see out. I think that for anyone doing biking and then or a sport and then stopping.
Yeah, and I kind of think just life changes because like I've had like other transitions since that, which again like aren't super easy. Like, yeah, anyone who might have a career change, like they might know it's because they don't want to do this thing anymore, but what else are they going to do? And that whole like building up to jump ship.
Yeah,
it's like
those feelings of risk versus reward. Like, do you remember when they first started to creep in? Is there like a moment you can picture and be like, that's when I thought maybe this feature on this track or this, I don't know.
Yeah. So 2016, I did have a big crash, broke my collarbone at Val de Sol World Champs.
Yeah.
Just went, I guess, well, I went really fast into a berm and there was a big hole in over the bars and
right.
Yeah. End of race run. And after that, I think there've been a few things that year. You know, when people talk about there's like a feature on a track that needs to be fixed or isn't quite right and things like that. That might have been the first part of me thinking about that because, just because it was changing loads during the week and then like this big hole develops like between practice runs and race runs. But like the next year, there'd always be something on a track that annoyed me. Like a landing that would like people were crashing on, I guess, not picking on Lords. This kind of happened at every World Cup. Something annoyed me, which is like, it tells you you're kind of not in the right place. But I was trying to like get over it. But like people were crashing on the landing. It was like really soft. And like one of my teammates hurt his ankle landing it. And you're like, if you're going to put a feature in a track and you're going to build a feature in a track, test it and do it properly before the race. And it's like, well, it's a World Cup. Like, is that a lot to, it's not a lot to expect.
Yeah.
And then at Leergang, the last jump was really, it was like straight into the last jump. And it felt sketchy because you had no idea how fast you would go. I didn't like it.
Okay.
And then one of the elite men had a really big crash and Remy Thurion and had a real bad injury from it. Yeah. And I was fuming.
It's like a massive tabletop.
Just real
I remember
like I did something my dad used to go on about. Like he loves qualifiers for tricky things, which is good. But he'll build stuff so it's challenging to ride because it makes you a better rider. But is it actually fun? But like this is just like huge running straight into a table, NG race run. Yeah, you just couldn't like there was nothing to like gauge your speed or before. And
that feature, actually. I forgot about it until this point. But I remember. Yeah.
But so I think I think I was still in the pits after my run when that was happening. I don't know. I went to see Tony, Tardy's dad, and I was just like, I was just really annoyed. Like, I just didn't think it was a good feature to have in or sensible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was stuff like that, and then you're like, well, okay. Yeah, I think that was the start.
Yeah.
And then the realization, like, I just don't want to go as fast as I need to. Yeah. I
always love hearing it, in fact, from racers that there's like an extra gear because I ride the same. I don't race. I just ride tracks and I'll go quick on the tracks, but I never have to do the extra 10%. So I kind of don't almost know. Like I just like hearing it. I like hearing someone say, "Yeah, I'm riding at 80% at the minute," and then for finals we're gonna go. What was it literally that for you that felt dangerous?
it was like, I mean, every track's different, right? So there were these features that were bothering me, and I think somewhere I was getting like a flashback that I was gonna, because Val de Sol, it was just like instantly over the bars,
Yeah.
and kind of feeling that might just happen at any time, which I guess is like a bit of a, it's like coming back to haunt you. Yeah, so that
Like
one lingered.
PTSD.
Yeah, this was like this is a crash that lingered
Yeah.
on me,
Yeah.
because it was so maybe out of the blue. But then it was so the national champs was at Riedevalen, Bala. And it's all like slates, like slippery slates, which you can ride down, fine. But then, you know, to do that extra 10%, I was like, don't want to.
Yeah.
Don't want to crash.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, yeah, that's
It's-
kind of the...
What is it in that extra 20%? What is it that kind of...
Yeah,
It's
where
just
is
the
it?
edge, isn't it? It's just the edge. It's finding the edge, isn't it? You
Yeah.
know, you can ride down most tracks and not crash.
Yeah.
But then if you want to go as fast as you can, then you are on the edge.
Mm.
And it's the edge for everyone, right? Because everyone will crash. Like even like the top racers, like some get a perfect run, and then sometimes you go too much or too less. Or
Yeah.
yeah.
So it sounds like just a catalogue of things. There's a little bit of track, there's a little bit of expectation maybe, or
Yeah, and this is
all these things just culminated
Yeah.
in this decision having to be made.
And this is the thing, because like as you say, you kind of analyze it in the years past, and there's all like so many. You know, you could probably find like an endless number of things, or that wasn't quite right, or there was that. But I think it's ultimately that risk and reward.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, yeah, it was.
Wasn't worth it anymore.
Yeah, it wasn't worth. Yeah, the carrot of like pushing yourself past that limit and accepting that you could injure yourself again wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any regrets from that decision?
No.
I'm sure you get asked that all the time. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
but-
people ask, do you miss it? I've like, you can absolutely watch races and feel the emotion. Like I probably like teared up watching quite a few finals because
Yeah.
you know what everyone's feeling and like what's led up to that moment. But if I want to go ride my bike, I can go ride my bike. If I want to ride it fast, I can ride it fast. Or I can just chill and cruise. And it's intense. Like, I think I could only race trying to be at the top. I don't think I could do it like just to be there.
Okay.
Why is that?
Don't know. I wish I didn't have it because I get that in other stuff too. Right? Just a little bit intense,
That's
maybe.
the competitive edge. That's like...
Yeah, the whole if you're not going to do something properly, don't do it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but it's there, and I know it's there. I struggle to not do something as well as I want to. So like, and I thought about enduro and thought about other stuff, but I'm like, it would be back to training. Like it's 24/7 because it's like you train and then you're not going and doing something else after because you're supposed to rest, and sleeping well and eating well and recovering again for like the next like block of training and stuff. It's a lot. It's a lot that people put into it. Like absolutely.
Yeah.
And I like having my summers.
Fair.
I think that was yeah. You know, like I was looking on Roots and Rain. I did about 20 races a year from 2011 to 2016.
Right.
And you got 50
You only
weeks,
got
50 weekends in a year.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of racing.
It's a lot of summer. It's a lot of summer weekends.
Yeah. So, you know, again, amazing thing to do. What an opportunity. But also there's also other stuff to do. And I'm enjoying doing that.
The next chapter.
Yeah.
So you finished up and did quite a few quite interesting film projects straight away, didn't you?
Yeah, but was there a gap? What was that time like after? Did you fall out with riding? Sorry, interrupt you. But did you not ride? Did you?
I didn't ride for about a month, other than like a town bike on holiday. And that was when the news was coming out, which again, I was like, because no one knew. Like, I'd just gone home from the World Cup and there's all sorts of rumours.
The rumour mill.
Why?
Where is she? Why isn't she here?
But the first thing I did, so that went out, and I had been on holiday for a couple of weeks, just like decompressing or whatever. But I went to ride with my friend Emily in France, who's a guide in the Alps now. She said, I'll come and ride. So I booked that and I was nervous. I was like, am I going to enjoy it? What if I don't even want to ride down an alpine track and I'm scared of the rocks? But But it was so much fun. We like we did a bunch of riding, did a big hiker bike up 600. I've never really hike a bike, I don't think. And it was like a 600, 800 meter up the side of like a French mountain to a lake at the top.
Yeah.
Swam in the lake, rode down. So much fun. Like, what a good day out. And I was stoked. Like the love for riding was still there.
Right.
So,
did you maintain the sponsorships that you left with, like, and carry them over into retirement?
Yeah. So
retirement. So crazy, but
post race. Yeah. Non-racing.
Yeah. Let's not say retirement.
Yeah. So I'd done that, and I was riding, and I was just riding like at home with my partner as well, just enjoying it. And then we did end up shooting an advert for a new bike.
Okay.
So at this point, I didn't know if it was going to continue the contract.
And you were on Radon?
Yeah, with Radon. And they had a new bike coming out, and they were like, do you want to film for the new bike? I'm like, yeah. Because I was enjoying riding.
Not a downhill bike, is it?
And that was really fun. Did that. And then, so I think maybe it was that was like, okay, well, should we continue? And I had no idea what I would be doing. But like still ride the bikes and see where this takes me.
And this is 2017?
That was 2017.
Does this align with you in like becoming more of a media rider?
No, I've always done that, really.
Yeah.
Stopped doing contests well early.
Yeah.
We were one of the first ones to do that, maybe.
Yeah, probably, because it was like magazines then, so I could write as well. And
Yeah. I was just kind of thinking more from like the video project thing and like YouTube and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's funny to think there weren't videos,
It was already a thing around 2017, but obviously was a thing around 2017.
Yeah.
And Instagram was well underway, but I don't think it was as branded. Like, you were just sharing on Instagram because you wanted to.
This is kind of what I'm trying to allude to. Is like, is it a similar thing as you, like, you know, your career and doing more of that sort of stuff? I guess it's not.
I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Sorry.
It's all right.
I don't know, but obviously you still are at the pinnacle of the sport, so you're completely. You're really valuable as an asset for like a big bike company to use.
Yeah, and actually, like, and it's such a funny thing, this thing, like, I was on about the risk versus reward thing, because I was stoked on jumping. Like, those next 2 years, I put my flat paddles on my bike, I was, like, playing around with, like, style and taking my feet off and some no-handers and stuff, and I think it was, it's either British Pie, another slice of British Pie, I think it was that segment. Like, we did some filming for that year after I finished racing, and I was like so happy to, I don't know, ride on my limit, but like, jumps
enjoy
and tricks
yourself.
and so I was like, still excited to ride bikes, but in a different way. So then we went to Iceland with Monet and Jacob. Yeah,
that's the one I'm thinking of, and that obviously then combined your interests then, didn't it?
Yeah, I think that was the first time. That was Monet's like concept. But I think there it was, I've always liked like these, like, in the environment, I guess, like how it all works and just like in general caring about it. So then Iceland, we went out to ride, but also we got to learn so much about like the places we were riding in, and like kind of maybe the history and just things going on in Iceland. Am
I wrong in thinking that was a monster project?
It was. Because
I remember thinking this is a monster project. And like, they also have ladies in bikinis and with flamethrowers.
Yeah.
And then Manon's in Iceland doing like stuff on. It was great, but it was just such a contrast.
Yeah.
It was like.
Yeah.
And probably, I don't know how many, I'm sure there were mountain bike videos of a different style, but I think there's way more now. Like, I think it was mostly shredits and edits and just pure riding.
No, it was really good. It told a story, didn't it? And what was it specifically you were focusing on in Iceland? We were just
riding and getting to know about the areas. We went and rode. We talked a bit about the geothermal energy. That's really cool. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. And because you can ride on volcanoes, like, and then go and see the geothermal energy plant that's like basically fueled by that volcanic system. Yeah, and I was doing geology at this point at university, and you can ride in a lava tube,
Yeah, it's
or
pretty cool, isn't
like
it?
an overhanging, like so cool. Yeah.
Was that your pitch to them, or was that their concept that you felt like the right person to
I
do?
can't remember what, but no, Monet pitched it. It was
Oh,
Monet's
right, yeah.
idea, like
Right.
let's do this thing together, and like yeah. So then we took the pitch to Monster, and I think it was just because we were with Magna as well, the guide out there, and he just told us so much cool stuff, and the whole stuff like you ride in national parks, so like they are like really sensitive, and the whole thing of like, please try not to ride off the track because it's just not a good look, and we don't want to damage the plants that are going to take like very long time to grow back.
Yeah.
So I think that might have also been a bit of an awareness of like that whole conversation as well, like being aware of where you're riding and how you're riding, and yeah, it was kind of it was just like perceptions of the trip, I guess.
Okay. Were you always
Yeah.
like that with the other, you travelled the world? Did you always try to make an effort to find out more about where you're riding and the history of the place, or is it just like a whirlwind?
I think that's the whole thing as well with the World Cup, like there's a race on the weekend, and
Yeah,
that's what
you're
your
in.
focus is on.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah. Like as I say, I would try and do fun things around it, but when I was traveling with a team, there's a bit less that. It was more like you're there to race. So yeah, not as much. And I think that I also missed that as well. Wanting to, I don't know. Yeah, find out more stuff. Or I love doing that afterwards. Like I've got, I've loved like the opportunity to spend time thinking about, different places that you're in and how they work, and and pitch projects that I am really interested in and can kind of like share a feeling and a message that I really care about as well, which is what I like about films.
Yeah.
You can get something across in 15 minutes that me sat there talking probably isn't going to like do the same thing. Yeah, that's what's cool about projects like that.
Can we just have more on chapter 2 after this little ad break?
I'd like that. Yeah, that sounds great.
That
Yeah.
liquid death's gone right through me. Okay, after the break.
Oh, finally, we get to my favourite ad. I think it is probably my favourite because it's the easiest one.
Yeah, this one's easy, dude. If you've not got one of these and you're a mountain biker, then what are you?
What are you, dude?
Yeah.
You're probably not cleaning your bike.
No,
You're certainly not. I didn't clean my bike before I got one.
I'm also quite guilty of it.
I mean, I didn't even have an outside tap before I got
Did
a
you
WORX
not?
Hydro Shot. That's right. We're talking about the WORX Hydro Shot.
Yes.
I use it every single ride.
Yep. Same, mate. I'm with you almost every single ride. I'm going to say almost because that's the sort of guy I am. But I do try, and I still
Freestyle.
keep my bikes in the house. So I do have to make sure she's clean because she comes in the house,
Yeah, there you go. But it is so easy because you've got the power share system.
Yep.
Obviously, that's the battery that comes out of, personally, my leaf blower, my impact driver, my chainsaw.
Okay.
I can carry on. Shall I
can
carry on?
carry on too.
Please,
We're
go
doing
on,
house
go on.
renovations at the moment,
Yep.
as you know, and I've got a few WORX tools in there. So I've been using a grinder, strimmer, done the garden recently.
Nice.
Impact driver.
Impact
got one of
driver's
those.
lovely, yeah.
The tyre inflator.
Oh, I need to get one of them,
That's
man.
really
Yeah.
sick. Hoover.
The Hoover's brilliant. I
And
use the
all
Hoover.
of it
I use the
works off
Hoover a lot.
one battery.
It does.
It's a dream.
How good is that?
Yeah,
right.
really
So
clever.
there's the difference between when I first cleaned my bike with a Hydro Shot.
Mm-hmm.
We're on to the 56 bar version, aren't we?
Yeah, we are, mate. They've added some extra power.
I've
But
got
it's
to
not
say,
too much power,
No,
which is nice.
it's absolutely perfect. This
perfect.
sounds like just something that you say in the adverts, and I bear in mind this is the adverts, but it is absolutely the perfect amount of pressure for a bike.
Totally.
Don't
yeah.
blow out your
It's
bearings.
Not going
you
to blow out
don't.
your bearings, exactly.
Right, shall I read some information about it?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so unlike conventional pressure washers with bulky body unit, mains connection, and garden hose attached to the tap, the new WORX Nitro High Flow Hydro Shot, so that's the difference. It's the WORX Nitro High Flow Hydro Shot, runs on batteries. It draws water from any source, so you can do it from a river in Wales when you're after the bike park. You can do it from wherever.
Yep.
You can do it. Bucket, pools,
Bottle.
lakes, even seawater.
Bath.
It's ideal for cleaning around the house and patio.
Yep.
We're talking about bikes. I did just auto cue that and just read what it said.
But it's, again, it doesn't have to be used for your bikes.
You're
That's
right.
the cool thing. We use it
You're
around the
right.
house and
Yeah,
outside
absolutely.
the house, you know.
And I do regularly.
Yes.
Equipped with WORX built brushless motor 2.0, this high pressure washer delivers excellent performance on powerful cleaning with a 220 litres an hour flow rate. That's a lot.
She's flowing.
She's flowing. Designed compact and portable at only 1.5 kilograms. You can take anywhere you need. It's got a 5-in-1 nozzle, actually also very useful.
Yes. Sometimes you want it on the pinpoint.
Exactly.
Clean the patio or something like that. Sometimes you want it a little bit wider. Maybe you're watering the
Exactly.
flower beds or something like that.
Absolutely. This goes through all the other applications.
But we know
already
them, dude.
that.
We can
already
move on. We know
that.
them.
We
And if you
know
don't
that.
know them, head to uk.works.com.
Yeah.
And if you enter the code The Ride Companion,
Yeah. Is that
you're gonna
caps?
I
have to ask.
It is caps.
It's all caps, just the Ride Companion.
Yeah, just The Ride Companion. That's going to knock you 10% off.
Amazing. That's just on
know
uk.works.com.
Let's do 15% off.
Can you? Are you that powerful?
Yeah, we'll speak
Are you?
to him.
You're a podcast
Yeah, well, let's just
master.
do
If
it
you
for
can
2 weeks. 15% off.
2 weeks, 15% off
2
at
weeks, 15% off.
uk.works.com with the code The Ride Companion, all capitals.
And it's across the whole range, except the robot lawnmower. But everything else. So you could build out your garage
that's
a little
really
bit, man.
good,
Get yourself a hydro shot, get yourself a drill, grinder, strimmer, all types of things.
Sometimes when I feel lost in life, I actually just go on the WORX website because I can't believe they've got that many products. And
So many.
if I'm struggling for jobs to do, I'll go on the WORX website and it will actually lead me to the light. I'll find a job to do. They've got so many tools. It's insane.
It's all for everything.
Get yourself to uk.works.com with the code The Ride Companion for 15% off for 2 weeks. I can't believe Davey's doing this, but he's doing it. He's pulling the trigger.
Yep.
Not literally, because we don't want to get the studio wet. Thanks, WORX.
Thanks, Works. Great ad. Another banger of an ad.
Absolutely.
So, what were we talking about just before the break? Oh, well, we were going to I guess we were kind of recapping all of that stuff and then coming into what is now moving into going to university. But during the ad break, we've decided that we're going to do a part 2 of this episode because there's loads more stuff to talk about, especially trail advocacy, geology.
Davey, stop. Don't give it away. They'll have to
teasers.
tune in next week for part 2.
Basically, the last 4 years of my life,
Yes.
we should probably talk about.
We should talk about it in depth and not feel like we're rushing it. And I think a part 2 would be really fun. So that's what we've decided to do.
Thanks for listening. See you in the next one. Peace and love.
Like and subscribe. You say it.
Like and subscribe. Peace and love.
Mate, what an episode.
Brilliant. I thought you were really great, Davey.
Mate, and I thought you were even better.
Thanks, dude.
Better
Thanks,
than
dude.
normal.
Oh, cheers.
Hey, how about we tell our lovely podcast community to hit subscribe here.
Yeah,
Click on the video on Olly's face.
that's right.
Click on the video on my face.
Yeah.
And follow us at The Ride Companion on Instagram.
They can like and comment as well.
Please do.
I'm going to try and get this energy and I'm going to bring it into next week.
Let's fast forward to next week's episode.
Done.